Hey everybody, oh my gosh, I am so excited about this. Epic Web Dev, I want to tell you all about it. I apologize in advance for my voice. It is a little hoarse because I'm getting over a little illness, quarantining myself for a little bit, but while I've been doing that, I've been pretty busy working on preparing for this launch of Epic Web, and so I can't wait to share that with you. So here it is, epicweb.dev. For the longest time, I've been wanting to tell people or teach people everything that I know, period, I guess. Like I just kind of really like to share the things that I know with people. And in particular with web dev, I've always wanted to create the KCD University. In my 2010 Decade in Review blog post that I posted 2 years ago, I talked about how I wanted to teach everything that I knew about web development as sort of a kcd.edu sort of thing. And instead I made Epic React, which I think was the right thing. That worked out, the right level of ambition for where I was. But now my level of ambition has erupted into this KCD University sort of thing. So anyway, I'm really excited to share Epic Web Dev with you all. So you go to epicweb.dev right now, you get to see this. It's pretty bare bones. We just stood this up here pretty quick. I'm going to be working with the same team that helped me build Epic React and testing JavaScript. So the quality of the platform is going to be excellent, and I can focus all of my time on the content, and that's the piece that you all are most interested in anyway. So the platform will be managed and taken care of by them, so full-time support staff and all of that stuff too, which is quite nice. And you get me as your full-time teacher, which I think is really good. So come down here, you can read through the copy if you like, and then give me your first name and email, and click on that to become an Epic Web Dev. So that'll just sign you up for my newsletter. Let me know that you're particularly interested in this, and then we can proceed from there, and I'll let you know and keep you up to date on things. There are going to be a lot of workshops and a lot of live streaming, tons of live streaming. In fact, I scheduled my first live stream already. So you can come to my YouTube and click on this. I will also share this in the Discord chat for what we're talking about here today. So if you go to kcd.im/discord and then find your way, once you go through the onboarding process and everything, find your way into the KCD category and then go to live stream chat, then that will have the thread right here where you can chat and ask questions and stuff, and I invite you to do so. And this channel is new. I'm going to, once I finish, it should be pretty quick, I'm going to make it so that my bot will be notified anytime I start streaming, and my bot will start a thread in here so that we'll have a thread per live stream video. This is primarily because YouTube's moderation is no good. So we're going to do all chat in the Discord here. So yes, please fill this up with all the questions that you have about what Epic Web is going to be and all of that. And I will get that answered. While you're filling that in with questions, the elephant in the room is, hold on a second, I thought you were the Director of Developer Experience at Remix. I'm not anymore. I can't do both. I can't do everything. And so I had to choose. And like I said, for a really long time, I've wanted to do this. And I felt like now that Remix has gotten to on a really good trajectory of growth, that was my primary responsibility. I feel pretty confident that they're going to be okay without me now. And so set them off on their way with all the stuff that I set up for the community there, and I talk about all of the things that I did while I was there at Remix in this blog post. I guess I'll put that in here as well. And and then I also blogged about how I'm building Epic Web Dev here as well, explaining what this is all about. So yeah, basically the idea is I want to, when this is all said and done, I want this to be a place where people could go who are like, I think I might want to be a programmer. Like they've never done any programming before. I want to take that person all the way to I can build and deploy a full stack web application for any company, anywhere, for myself, whatever. That's the idea. That's what I'm trying to accomplish here. And I think I'm going to do it. I think it's going to work out because I've done that. I have that experience, and so I'm super excited to be able to do that for other people. So yeah, that is there's a lot of stuff that this is going to be. Most of it is going to be very similar to Epic React as far as like workshops and everything. Man, there's so much stuff in this thing. It's crazy. But Epic Web is going to be like twice the size, maybe more, of what Epic React is, because I not only have to teach people programming, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, but I also have to get them through like React and through Remix, web fundamentals. So like how does the web platform work? How do servers work? Node.js, authentication, databases. There are certainly some things that you don't really need to know it from a deep level because those things are commoditized. So like I'm not going to teach how to set up your own platform as a service or whatever. We've got those, and so we're going to use those. Yeah, for like my idea is I want to take somebody who's like, I have an idea for an app I want to build or an app I want to have exist, but I don't know how to program. I want to get that person on the other side of their idea, and then ultimately to be able to like get a job or build their business as a software developer on the web. So that's the idea. So that's why it's going to be way bigger than Epic React. It's also going to, so it'll include a lot of the concepts, not all of them, but probably most of them that are in Epic React. It'll include most, but not all of the concepts that are in testing JavaScript. And then like way more, because we're going to get into the back end and stuff as well. So lots and lots of stuff there. And now I'm going to turn to the questions that are coming in the chat. And we'll start up here at the top. So Peter asked, do I plan to have a better intro to HTML than even the introduction to HTML from MDN? So yeah, that's a great question. The plan is, yes, my plan is to make the best way to get into web development that I could possibly think of. Now, of course, that's like enormously subjective, and so it is my opinion that my plan is to take people from like just the very, very beginning of everything. And so, yes, the answer to your question is yes, that's my plan. What parts will be free? Link to total beginners. Yeah, this is another great question. Because yeah, here's a really important piece of what I'm trying to accomplish here. I do not want to make money on the backs of the hopes and dreams of people. So especially when we're talking about people who don't know how to program yet, they don't even know if they want to program. I don't want to have somebody pay me a bunch of money to say, maybe this will work out, and then try it for a couple months and realize, I'm not super into this programming thing, and be out all of that money. So the beginner stuff, almost all of the beginner stuff will be free, and there will be a lot of like additional content that will be free as well. And because I'm live streaming the building of the whole thing, like anybody who has enough commitment and dedication to watch all of that can learn all the content that way. The problem with that is it's like low value to minute ratio stuff, but lots of really good learnings there. So yeah, all of it will be live streamed and recorded on YouTube forever. That's the current plan. And I guess I should mention that everything we're talking about here are plans. None of this is promised. I don't actually promise anything until you pull out your credit card, right? So once you pull out your credit card, then you and I both understand the transaction, and boom, that's a promise. But all of the things that I'm telling you now, like these are just plans, and plans can and do change all the time. So just keep that in mind. But yes, you will totally be able to link to Epic Web to total beginners, and they'll be able to decide whether they want to get into web dev, and it will be really high quality stuff for sure. Okay, great. Another person emailed me and asked me about TypeScript. Yes, and Peter is correct. Of course, all the advanced modules will have TypeScript. So when I'm teaching like introduction to JavaScript, that will not be TypeScript, of course. So there will be 2, maybe 3 modules about JavaScript, actually maybe 4. 4 workshops about JavaScript, and those will all be just JavaScript. And then there will be 1 or 2 TypeScript modules that are, or workshops that are like, here's TypeScript. And so, and everything thereafter, like in the linear approach, everything thereafter will all be TypeScript, because that is how you build epic web applications on the web. So yes, the answer to the TypeScript question is yes. This person, the code for the Epic Web will be available on GitHub. Yes. In fact, I created a GitHub org. You can't, like, Epic Web, Epic Web Dev, Epic-Web, like all of the variants except for this one basically were taken, which was a shame, but this works. So I made an organization for all of the repos, everything that will go into Epic Web will go on this organization. I don't think you can like star this or anything, which is a shame. Oh, you can follow it though. So here, let me paste a link to that. And maybe I'll say on Twitter, follow this org, maybe. There you go. So yeah, it's going to be a really awesome place where I stick all of the content. There will be probably dozens of repos here. Like I'm thinking we'll probably end up with something like 16 to 24 workshops when this is all done. We'll see, but it may even be more. We'll see. Okay, sweet. Let's take a look at what, there we go. So yeah, everything will be completely open source. And a big reason for that, by the way, is those of you who are going to be paying for this in the future, you are financing the free stuff that I'm doing for people who are not as privileged as you are. So for a lot of you, my hope is that your boss pays for this. That's what I always feel a lot better about making money off of your manager and your company than I do making money off of you. And so that just feels like the right way to do it as far as education is concerned. So for those who don't have a boss who's going to pay for it, then I make all of the content or the material free, and I make just like a silly amount of content. I have my office hours that are free as well, so if you're going through it by yourself, you can come to my office hours to ask any questions you've got. So I do try to do a lot of stuff that is open and free to help as many people as I can, at the same time while I'm trying to make it sustainable. And so creating really, really valuable stuff that people will be willing to pay for so that we can do both. And that's the idea. Kishore is excited, and so am I. So that's great. I'd like to know the curriculum outline. There's no outline currently. Well, I have an outline. Here, let me pull it up. I don't know if it'll come on that. Yeah, there we go. Because this is like my notes of everything. And here we go. So I've got this big concept dump of all the concepts. One thing is the development environment. So I don't think I'm going to make a workshop out of like setting up VS Code or anything. That's kind of a weird one, but I'll probably make a series of blog posts or just tutorial videos or something like that. Probably the blog posts or maybe an email series or something showing you different tools to set up for your development environment. Because like, again, people are going to come into this not having any experience with software development. And so that will help those people. And even it's always nice to see how other people's dev environments are set up. So even if you're experienced, that could be helpful. Yeah, HTML, CSS, JS, TS, web platform, and Remix will definitely play a big role in all of this. Prisma and Tailwind, stuff like that will play a role too. Okay, so as far as where's my workshops? I thought I had like specific workshops listed out somewhere. Maybe that wasn't here. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm basically gonna have like a beginner HTML, beginner CSS, and JS, like beginner JS, like syntax, and then there will be advanced JavaScript features, and then async JavaScript, and then TypeScript, more advanced TypeScript, and then the web platform, and then like so much stuff. I don't have anything to share, but yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Basically, the way that this is going to work, and I probably should have been more or said this like at the beginning, is I need to build an app first, and I think I talked about this in the blog post, but I need to build an app that people can actually build as we're building, learning all of this stuff together. And excuse me, if you come to my first live stream tomorrow morning, then you can watch me as I start a brand new project, and how I typically build projects. When I was first going to do this, I was going to like do it in the way that people say that you're supposed to build projects. I was going to like, do user research and do like, get a project manager and start like designing and wireframes and stuff. And yeah, that's not a bad way to build software, but that's not the way that I typically build my apps all the time, especially like when you're going solo, which is kind of what we're going to be demonstrating. The things that you're going to learn in the method that we actually build this together is how you would build something if you were going solo, or how I would build something if I was going solo. So that is not going to involve all of that stuff. It's going to look bad at the first, and then once we have a good idea of what it does or what it is, then we'll bring in a designer, and then actually we'll bring in a bunch of experts to come and tell me all of the things that I did wrong, and all of that will actually, of course they'll be paid, all of that will feed into content for Epic Web, which would be really, really cool. To have a bunch of videos of people tearing my stuff apart. So anyway, yeah, so I have to build the app first. That's what I'm going to be live streaming like a fiend over the next couple months. And then once the app is built, I can deconstruct that into workshops. So, okay, what do people need to understand to be able to do this? Okay, so here are the workshops to like build this feature or build this part of the app or whatever. And so we'll work backwards. So the way that the Epic Web is going to go, at least the way I'm planning on for now, is we're actually going to release it in chunks. I can't release the beginner stuff, that's of course all the free stuff right at the start, because that's not paid, and so I need to make sure that like this is still a sustainable project for me, and so I need to release the paid stuff first, and so that means the more advanced stuff. And so we're going to start actually backwards, I guess. Start with the advanced stuff and release a big batch of the advanced things, and then we'll work our way backwards until it's all the KCD University of Epic Web Dev. So that's how that is going to work. I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be done. I do not do deadlines or anything like that. So I will tell you an order of magnitude though. This is definitely an order of months, probably not for the first release of stuff. It's definitely months, most likely not years. I would be really sad if it took a full year to release the first chunk of this stuff. So that's what you can expect in regard to that. The whole project I'm expecting to be like a 2-year project, probably. So lots of stuff to do. And throughout the entire thing, I'm going to be live streaming it all. And then I'm going to, once I have the app done, then I'm going to chunk things up into workshops, which I will probably live stream as well, because that's kind of interesting and why not? And so I'll chunk things up into the workshops and exercises and all of that stuff. And then I'm going to start giving those workshops. And those will be paid workshops that you can get tickets to and everything. So, and then once I give a given workshop 2 or 3 times and maybe more, then I can record it and then we'll package it up and put it on Epic Web for people to go through on their own time and at their own pace and all that stuff with learning clubs and everything. It's going to be sweet. Okay, cool. So Prince is asking estimated target commencement date. I'm sure that a couple people asked similar questions before I said I'm not going to tell you. So no, I find that telling people deadlines puts undue pressure on myself. And so, yeah, I don't do that. The only deadlines I agree to are like events that I'm speaking at. So yeah, there we go. Why Epic Web Dev is not sponsored, made by Remix and me? Yeah, that's a fair question. I think that part of the problem is Remix needs me to be focused on building the community and stuff, and it just doesn't make sense for what they're doing to have me off doing this other thing. The other thing is, frankly, that I can have more success working on my own than working with Remix. There's not a lot Remix could do for me with regard to Epic Web. And so it just makes a lot more sense for me to do this on my own. Largely because I have a really great team at Egghead, and also because I've done this before. And so I don't need their support necessarily. Well, I mean, I appreciate their support and they're awesome people and everything. But I don't need them to support me through going through all of this. So that's why. There's a background high-pitched whistling. Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. And I forgot to look into that. I still need to look into why that's happening because people have complained about that in the past. So I will look into that because we're going to be live streaming a lot and that would be really annoying. So I'll figure out what that is. So now fully into teaching stuff. Yes, that's exactly 100% what I'm doing, just teaching. Of course, I'm still community building in this Discord and everything, but yeah, it's all around teaching and KCD. You'll notice that Remix is still right there. I'm still definitely a major part in the Remix community. And I will hopefully be, I'll definitely be attending Remix Conf next year and hopefully be speaking next year. That'd be sweet. I ran the conference last year, so I couldn't, or this year, so I couldn't speak. But yeah, maybe I'll speak next year. That would be sweet. So for those who did Epic React and Testing.js, for example, can they skip those parts in Epic Web? Like maybe I never want to advise people to skip anything because there are holes in for everybody. I'm not just talking about you, but there are holes in our knowledge about every given subject that regardless of whether that's covered in Epic React or testing JavaScript, even if it's covered as you go through it, there are going to be holes in your knowledge because of your level of experience at the time you went through it. And so because of that, those holes could get filled as you go through Epic Web. They might get filled if you go through Epic React again or testing JavaScript. But I hesitate to ever tell people to just like skip over content and stuff. A good example of this is I read my scriptures every day, and I've read the scriptures multiple times, but every time I read them, there's new things and new insights, and it's the exact same stuff. And so, yeah, I hesitate to tell you to skip over stuff. Another thing that I should mention is that some people are going to say, well, should I even go through Epic React and testing JavaScript? And I would suggest that if you need to know React and testing right now, then yes, absolutely. In like a year when this is pretty well underway and parts of it are released and everything, maybe not. We'll see what things look like at that time. Epic React is probably going to go deeper into React than I'll need to go in Epic Web, in particular because Remix. And because Remix like simplifies a lot of things. Testing JavaScript, same thing. And so if you're at a company that maybe like can't use the latest stuff, then Epic React will be, and testing JavaScript will be really, really useful to you. So I will make those things free when I don't think that they're worth anything anymore. And so, yeah, if they're still for sale, then I do believe that there's still people who would benefit from buying it. So, yeah, thank you for the question. That's a good one. Will you reteach React on Epic Web? Yeah, I think I probably answered this after you posted this, but yes. I'm going to be reteaching React, reteaching testing. All of that stuff will be included in Epic Web Dev. That's the plan. How long until it's out? Yeah, another... I know a lot of people are wondering that. Yeah, eventually. It will be a while. How low level do I plan to go? Yeah. So when we're talking about like learning something new, one of the most important parts of that is not getting frustrated by the process. And so I'm very aware of this and almost fell victim to the frustration here where I just said, you know what, programming is not for me. I actually did say that, and then had to take a programming class for another thing I was doing. And that one was when I also decided to take what I was learning and apply it to something practical. And that was when I was like, oh, programming actually is fun. And so, yeah, I'm very keenly aware of the danger of going too low level, too theoretical, and I don't want to do that for people. So anyway, that's the idea. We are going to be balancing out high level for benefit of motivation and everything, but low level for the benefit of understanding. We're doing both. It's big enough that I can do that. So thank you, Jens, for that question. Does Epic Web include some advanced stuff like site reliability and performance optimization, other things? So yeah, we're definitely going to be doing performance optimization, site reliability. I'm not sure if we'll have like a whole workshop on that, but there may be a workshop on deploying, monitoring, that sort of thing. So yeah, stay tuned. But yes, we are going to that like level 9 stuff or whatever. However you want to call that, yes. It's like everything that I know about web development is what Epic Web is. Okay, Rue is asking, will this go as far as building apps for scale? Yeah, same question. Yes, that is definitely the plan. Will you use and teach building with the monorepo? Yes, I am planning on doing that. I have not yet decided which I prefer, NX or Turbo repo. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning toward Turbo repo, just mostly because Joel Hooks really screams its praises, and well, he doesn't scream anything, but he seems to really like it. And I put a lot of stock in Joel Hooks' opinions, so yeah, I'm going to evaluate that. That will all be part of the live stream. And I've looked at NX as well, and so we'll kind of look at both of them. One thing that appeals to me about what I've heard about Turbo Repo is that it's actually pretty minimal, which I really like. NX seems to be very not minimal, but I could be misperceiving that because I've never actually, don't have a lot of experience with these tools yet. So I do use monorepos, but not with Turbo Repo or NX yet. So I need to do a little bit of playing around with that. If you have suggestions, you're more than welcome to leave them for me. Okay, like the idea of improving the project? Yep. So like the whole thing is going to be this project. So this is actually why we have to do the more advanced stuff first and then work our way backwards, and why I have to build the app first is because all the way at the very beginning when we're learning HTML, we're going to be like, here's the thing that you're going to build eventually. Let me teach you how to build the nav for that in HTML. And we're not going to actually use that code because we're going to eventually move over to JSX and stuff. But we're going to like, here's HTML, and it's always going to come back to this big app that we're going to be building. The final masterpiece that you're going to be working on. I want it to be very cohesive. That is something that I didn't have with Epic React, where almost every exercise was an individual file. And it could be because we're just talking about components, with the exception of the Bookshelf app, which was like multiple files and providers and all of that stuff. But there was not any cohesion across like all of the workshops. And so for this one, everything will relate to the app that we are going to be building, which is really nice because it means there won't be any contrived examples. You're not going to be using APIs that like you don't typically use in a real app. And I should say that the app, I've got a big list of all of the features that I want to include in the app that are like the 90% or 95% of features that most web apps have. Or let me say that differently. The features that 95% of the web apps on the web have. So we're talking about stuff like as simple as CRUD, but as advanced as like live chat, stuff like that, real time and whatever. We're not going to get into like 3D modeling or anything like that because although I do believe we are going to be using 3D models, just a component that renders out the 3D models and stuff, because the ideas that I've got for the app are going to be so cool. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get somebody who can make us a 3D model of some stuff, and then we'll render that out, and that'll be sweet. But yeah, we're not going to get into like really, really intense like Canvas calculation stuff or anything like that. We'll maybe use components that do that. But most developers don't need to know how to do that. And and with the skills that you learn from Epic Web, you'll develop the skills you need to be able to learn that if you need to. But most of us don't need to learn that stuff. So that's the idea there. I'm glad that you like that. Is it for beginners with no experience? Yeah, talked about that earlier, Luis. Yeah, ultimately at the end of it all, Epic Web will go from I know nothing to I know everything that Kent C. Dodds knows about developing web apps. So it is very big. There's a lot of stuff here, or there will be. Right now there's like a single page, but there will be a lot of stuff here. Any plans of offering discounts to users who bought previous workshops? Yeah. So there will be, I'm not sure what the pricing structure is going to be. There'll probably be tiers similar to what we have now, especially since we're going to be releasing over time. There's also that element too. So I can't really say, but normally when I do workshops and stuff, I do give discounts to to people who have been to my workshops before. So like a loyalty discount. And so we'll probably do some sort of loyalty discount. Currently, there's the KCD bundle that allows you to bundle these together. And I believe there's a discount there if you have one of them and want to get the other or something. So yeah, that we'll probably have something like that when this comes out. But yeah, not totally sure. Will there be a regular schedule for the live stream? I'm so glad that you asked. And Nick, thank you so much for answering. Yes, there's a regular schedule. It links you to a Google Calendar that I will update with my schedule for live streaming. It will be, I will try to be as regular as possible. This is my full-time job, and so it's pretty much like 9 in the morning to noon is live stream, and then hour for lunch, and then 1 o'clock to 5 is more live stream. And I take breaks throughout the day. I'm going to be using Centered. I'm going to be developing software the way I develop software. I'm just going to have the camera on. That's basically it. And so the one thing I won't live stream is my like email and stuff. Like even as a regular software developer, you have to respond to email and stuff. And there is a point where like there is privacy. People sending me emails probably don't want me live streaming the emails they're sending me. So like we've got to make some concessions there. But yeah, for the most part, it's like full time. I'm live streaming every day all the time. But I am traveling a fair bit in the next month or two. And so there will be a little bit of that that y'all just have to watch out for. But that's why it's on the calendar, so I can keep that up to date and you can look at that. And I actually also moved my office hours to that calendar as well. So if you want to know when my office hours are and when they're canceled or whatever, Peter will be really happy to hear this, I think. You can just look at that calendar and it will say when those are. So you can subscribe to the calendar, and then when you don't want to see it, you just like in Google Calendar, you check it off or whatever, so you're not bothered by it, and you can just look at it whenever you want. Maybe I'll stand up an iframe on my live page. This is a new page. Maybe I'll stick an embed right here or something that'll just show the schedule or something. I don't know. Diego, have you considered a second language like Spanish? Yeah, so I've not thought about this yet. I've definitely thought about it for testing JavaScript and Epic React. It is very difficult to translate video content because you basically have to, well, you don't have to re-record it, the video. Somebody could just like do dubs over it. Yeah, it's not something that I can dedicate my time to because I don't speak Spanish. So it would have to be something that the Egghead team does, the team that I'm working with. And I don't know. You could, I'll mention that, but I think that's unlikely to happen just because we have a lot of other priorities, a lot of other things going on, which is a real shame, I know, but that's probably, just trying to be truthful, that's probably what it's going to be. Sorry. Edgaris, will there be stuff like background jobs, queues, and mailers? Yes, definitely. So these are things that people need to know how to do or need to understand. And so, yes, we are going to be, other non-obvious stuff considered advanced backend, but need in every real app project. Yes, absolutely. One thing that won't be in here, the app idea that I have in mind is, I'm not going to tell you, you're going to have to come tomorrow morning, but it is going to require some payment processing. I am not going to implement credit card storage and all of that stuff. No, and if I were building this like as an actual product, I wouldn't do that either. I'd just use Stripe, and so that's probably what we'll do, is just use Stripe or something else like that. But it's actually possible that we'll turn some of this stuff into services. Like, for example, for my website, I'm using Mailgun to deliver email. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and I may do the same thing when we're building the app. We'll see when we get to that feature. But yeah, so there may be some things where we're like, we're going to use a commoditized thing for this just because even though it costs money every month or whatever, it's going to save us in development time so we can ship faster, and then we can swap that out for something later or whatever. There's always a reasonable justification for stuff like this. And in particular, like lots of the advanced backend stuff is commoditizable, whereas advanced front-end stuff is less so. So I think that there is a good argument to be had for knowing when to build it yourself and when to just use something off the shelf. And so we will definitely have those conversations as I'm building it, and we'll make the appropriate decision. Epic Web will have only one big app project or would include mini projects. So the whole thing will be one big project. We might do some mini projects that are like, okay, we need to learn this one specific thing. Doesn't really fit in the context of what we're doing. So probably not. I can't see, because if there's something like that, then it means our big project doesn't include all the things that you typically need in a big project. Or maybe this is something you don't really need to know for most people. And so I don't think that it would be worthwhile. But I don't know. Maybe. I'm not going to rule it out, but probably not. Okay, one second. I hope you don't hear that cough when I like lean over. Maybe it doesn't help at all. Okay, so it's more like KCD Life in review, aka Epic Web. Yeah, if you've ever seen The Circle, that movie with what's her name, Emma Watson and Tom Hanks. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. Except, no, just kidding. But like for my work, yeah, just like live streaming the whole thing. Okay. Will the course be remix focused, or will it have some other front end, back end architecture? It will be web focused. So that is the goal. That is the focus. That's why it's called Epic Web. Remix will play a very significant role because I believe that Remix is the best way to build web applications today. But yeah, there are going to be a lot of things we talk about that have nothing to do with Remix at all. Because the web is, well, for one, Remix just exposes the web, and so it doesn't get into your business when it's not supposed to be there. But also the web is just like really big, and there are a lot of concepts and stuff that Remix isn't, it doesn't touch. But yes, the app will be Remix for sure. Will it include a section on data structures and algorithms? Probably not. Maybe a little bit. Like we're going to certainly talk about maps and sets and stuff when we get into the advanced JavaScript stuff. We're going to talk about promises and stuff like that. But like I don't think I've ever used what would be called an algorithm. I don't know how would you define those, but and I have sort of used data like special kinds of data structures that I built myself. But yeah, what it's going to include is everything that we need to build the app that we're going to build. And that app we're going to build is going to have all of the features that 95% of the apps on the web need. And so if that app includes data structures and algorithms, then yeah, I'm going to teach that. So kind of going for that that focus. The end is what decides what's included and what's not. I'm not going to just include something because I think it sounds interesting or cool. Okay, getting Josh Como in for some fun sound hooks. That would actually be pretty cool. He could. I love Josh. He's amazing. Would love to hang out with him if we didn't live so far away from each other. Yeah, it would be really cool to have him on. He was on. Was he on Chats with Kent or was the Epic? I can't remember if he was on here. Yeah, there he is. So on Epic Web, he's one of the expert interviews. I think that he was also on here. I bet we can do this. Let me grab that and then go to kentcdons.com/s/anything, and it will do a search on all of my content. And there he is. We've got actually two. Oh, that's right. We had 2 episodes back to back because it was just so fun talking with him. So that's fun. Josh is great. I think I'd love to have him on talking about just really anything. Probably could have him on to talk about some CSS stuff or whatever. That would be sweet. Yeah, Josh is awesome. Jose, micro front ends. No, I can tell you with pretty darn certain we will not get into micro front ends. Micro front ends do affect some applications, but I would not say that falls into the 95% of web apps category. So that one, no, that's not going to be part of this at all. Atabic, how are you going to build your team? It's like Epic React where there are people actively contributed. Yeah, so we are not actively hiring anybody right now. And I am not going to be responsible for hiring people either myself. So that is all my partners' responsibility is like the building of the app or the platform itself. They already have a bunch of employees and everything, but there will be some things will be contracted out. Even in the app, I will actually probably contract out. Well, I don't know. I may contract out the design. Actually, I probably will, and then I may even contract out some implementation of the design. And so when we get to the phase where like, okay, so the app is done. Now we need to make it look not awful. See, because that is my problem is I am not a very good designer, and so I will not be teaching you. There will not be a workshop on design. There will be a workshop on CSS. There will probably be a workshop on Tailwind, or at least a couple lessons about it. But yeah, seems reasonable to have a whole workshop on Tailwind. So we'll see about that. So I don't have any problem implementing designs. But making the design, yeah, you're not going to learn that from me. And I think that's okay because most of the time you can, you're going to have a designer, or you're going to just like be able to wing it yourself. Yeah, at least it doesn't make a difference because I can't teach it to you anyway. So yeah, as far as like team, if you want to join, then I actually don't know what to say. Yeah, I guess you could ping Joel Hooks. Maybe he'll get mad at me for saying that. I don't know. He's normally pretty approachable. But yeah, he's going to be responsible for all that. Hello, human. Thank you. I appreciate that. Danish. So does it include usage of AWS? No, actually, I will not be using AWS. I will... I mean, things can change, but I am very confident that I will be using fly.io to do this. I feel a lot better about long-running servers for web applications. I am not on the serverless train. Not sure that is the best way to build web apps, to be frank. So clearly it's a way to build web apps, and I should mention this is built on serverless because this is running on Vercel. But again, I'm not responsible for the platform, and I'm not going to tell them what to do. Hold on a second. I need to cough again. I'm so sorry about this. So I'm not going to be using AWS. I take it back. I won't be using AWS for functions. I may use it for image storage or like file storage and stuff. I will need to evaluate that. Yeah, it's very, very possible I'll use it for that. There are a couple options there. But yeah, for some storage thing, I could see myself using AWS. And I've done that before. I had an app before where you would add a profile picture, and I uploaded it to AWS and everything. So yeah, I might maybe for a few feature flags. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's an AWS feature for feature flags, but I don't know what that is or what feature that would be. I do know what feature flags are, but yeah, as far as like feature flags, I don't know if I'll include that. I hadn't actually thought about doing feature flags. Maybe that would be interesting. Yeah, at PayPal we definitely had a feature flag system. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'll have to think about that. Okay, subtitles or captions, other languages could work too. Yes, that's true. And that would certainly be a lot easier. Maybe. I really would like to reach more than just English speakers. The challenge would be support, but the community could step in there, I think, to help support people who are non-English speakers. And I'm more than happy to make some channels in here that are like, if you speak Spanish, here's your space to chat with people who speak Spanish here. I don't have any problem with that. Another challenge, of course, would be office hours. Like, I only speak English, and so you will have I guess a non-first class experience, which is a shame. But like, we maybe do what we can do. So I'll talk with Joel about that, and we'll see. Will the streams be saved? Yes. So this stream right now, that will be saved forever, and you can come back and watch this. All of the Epic web streams will be saved as well. And in fact, I may even use some of the content for Epic Web, possibly. I'm not sure. But I am recording this right now, and it's going to an infinite Dropbox that we may be able to like pull stuff out of that might be useful. So yes, definitely saved. Will you be the only instructor on this, or are you considering to invite instructors? You know, I've actually thought about that a little bit. Well, first of all, I'll say that definitely it was my plan from the beginning to have, sorry, one second. I just noticed my wife sent me a message. I want to make sure I'm not missing something that is really important. But I also don't want to show it to you. So, okay, yep, everything's good. Yeah, so... yeah, I am planning on, I build the app and then I bring on a bunch of experts to interview and we'll go through the app and say, here's like the things you really messed up or whatever. So there will be that aspect to it. As far as like somebody to teach a full workshop, I've definitely thought about that, and right now I do not want to do that. This is just a me thing. When you start bringing on other instructors, then I feel like I would lose control of the whole thing, and while that may be an important area of my own personal growth, I'm not ready for that. So we're not going to bring anybody else. It's just me. Okay, planning on explicitly tracking, explaining architectural choices. Sounds amazing. So far, yeah. So I will, that's actually a good idea. I should probably take notes as I go, because there will be decisions made. And so maybe it would be good to, like at the end of every day or every live stream, I just take some notes and like, here are the decisions I made and here's why I made them. That would be a good thing to do. That's not how I build web apps. I do not take notes, but it would be a good way to do that. And actually with Remix, we have a decisions folder here where we have a decision doc that explains different trade-offs, like why we did things the way we did, all of that stuff. Sorry, my wife just left, and I think somebody's not knocking at the door. This is what live streams are going to be like, by the way. It's definitely not a planned thing or whatever. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's there. Just the dog is barking at random people, I guess. Okay. Will there be koalas? Yes. Cody will definitely be making an appearance. Yeah, hooray! Yes, Cody is an important part of all things KCD. Cody is the mascot. So yes, the workshop format, it works great. The Epic React workshop format with the code comments and Cody the koala in there to help guide you along. It works awesome. I may adjust some things, but for the most part, it's going to be the same. And so, yes, Cody will absolutely make many appearances. Astro markets itself as a content framework of websites, while its docs make a distinction between sites and apps. Specifically, you're seeing Remix as an app framework. Next, so here, reactrouter.com. This is a Remix site, but I don't know, kind of looks like a content site to me. And it's freaking fast. Every single one of these are all code split. That like it's loading. This is dynamic data. Here, look at this. We haven't really talked about this too much yet because the release is not quite out yet. But like every one of these I go to, it's fetching data to get what should show up here. I don't know. Seems like Remix is pretty good for content sites too. But anyway, so next is not really a challenger for Remix in your opinion. Is there anything that you'd say that distinguishes apps from sites? Yeah, I mean, like I don't actually distinguish apps from sites. I think that what some people might consider to be a site will eventually become an app if it's something that makes money. If it's like your blog, then yeah, okay, maybe that's a site. But yeah, if we're talking about things that companies build because it's important to their company, then any site will probably eventually turn into what you might think an app is. And so I just call them all websites or web apps. I don't care. I don't make a distinction. Fun question though. Okay, Josh is a great human. I totally agree. NoSQL or SQL? Definitely Postgres. I already decided on that. Well, okay, sorry. SQLite. Because it's actually pretty straightforward to go from SQLite into Postgres, and so maybe I will show something like that. The major, at least I will start building the app with SQLite, and maybe I'll change it to Postgres, and that's what I'll teach. The major benefit of SQLite, frankly, is just not having to run a Postgres database or any kind of database. No Docker containers, nothing. Just like pretty dang simple to set up. So my personal site uses Postgres, and it's great. I like it. And it's actually required from, or not quite required, but it's really nice on Fly because the clusters, nope, that's not it, Postgres clusters, where it will like automatically replicate your data for you and everything. It's really, really great. Whoops. So yeah, I think we'll probably start with SQLite and then we'll evaluate Postgres. But in any case, to answer your question, definitely not NoSQL. We're using SQL. We're going to use Prisma as well. Yeah, okay, some more stuff about that. We'll move on. Let's see something about creating UI kits. That's a good question. I think that probably not. Probably not, because my target, there are kind of two targets that I'm thinking about. One is the solo developer who's building a single app, standing that up on their own, and they don't need a UI kit. Like, they don't need to create a UI kit. They're either going to grab one that's open source, or they're going to just like make a couple components and everything and just use those. The other one is a developer at a big company. It's just a regular product developer. They don't need to make a UI kit either. They're going to be using their company's UI kit. I'm not targeting the people who are going to build the UI kit. That's actually what Epic React is for. And so, yeah. And we're also not going to talk about like building libraries or anything like that. This is building Epic web apps. That's what we're going for. Or Epic websites, however you want to say that. Drink warm water with honey. Yes, I should. We've got some herbal tea upstairs that I forgot I was going to drink this morning, and I just did not. And normally I'll stick honey in that too. So thank you for the reminder. I'll do that when we're done. Cloudflare seems to have a new image storage. Yes, I do know about that. I use Cloudinary right now, and I've thought about Cloudflare's image storage because what's nice about theirs is they don't charge for egress. And that's where most of my money goes right now to Cloudinary, is egress, like people loading my images. So yeah, I definitely will evaluate things. Okay, will you be covering Next.js or just Remix? Also, will Epic Web have dad jokes? We'll definitely have dad jokes, 100%. I will definitely be covering Remix. I will not be covering Next.js at all. I don't think that, so one of the benefits to having an instructor is somebody who has opinions. And because like when you're just coming in, you're like, man, there's so many options, I don't know what to do. And you don't want your instructor to be like, well, you're going to have to just go choose that for yourself. I'll just teach you all the things. No, you want to be told what to do. Don't tell me what my options are and tell me things that are like, you know, here are all the different potential choices you can make here. Just give me the path that I'm supposed to go down, and I'll go down that path. And so provided that the path that I set you on is going to set you up for success, then I think that's actually a really good thing. So no, I'm not going to be giving you multiple options or telling you you could do this or you could do that. From a technology standpoint, there are certainly many ways to build web applications, and I'm going to take a firm stance on anything that I can. And yes, dad jokes. Okay. Yeah, we can talk about that somewhere else. Is it going to be free to use? So the beginner stuff will be free. The more advanced stuff will not. Setting up a database is pretty frustrating. Yes. Especially like for our target audience as well. These are people who are like never programmed at all. That's not our target. Our target audience is anybody who does anything on the web, as far as like programming and developing for the web is concerned. That's our target audience. So that includes beginners. And yeah, that would be a super duper pain to like have to install Docker and figure out how to get Postgres going. However, as a web developer, you probably need to be able to do that. And so I'm still evaluating whether I'll be bringing in Postgres or not. Will there be a discount? Yep, somebody asked that about that earlier. There will probably be a discount, but I'm not sure. Purchase power parity, yes, we will definitely have purchase power parity. That is just a like really good thing to do. How much for the course cost? No idea. Any possible discounts? Yeah. Hey, Raphael. Probably, as I said earlier. Yeah. Okay, looks like we're down to the end of the questions, and that was an hour, so that works out. I invite you all to join me tomorrow morning. And if you go to the kcd.im/live, that will take you actually to this live stream, the most live stream that's currently going on. But I have the first Epic Web live stream scheduled right here. I'll put a link to it in here so that you can hit the bell. And that is when I'm going to be live streaming next. And this is where I will introduce to you what the project is. And we can get started on it right from the get-go. We'll just hit the ground running, and we're going to build it not like I'm going to be teaching this, but like I'm actually building this thing. How would Kent C. Dodds build the project that we're going to be building? So that's the idea. That's what we're going to be doing, and it's going to be awesome. Just another last question before we wrap up. Would you be covering developer tools, debugging, performance optimization, profiling? Yes, all of those things. Yes, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff. Okay, thanks everybody for joining. It was super fun. I see that there's one last comment coming in. Backend going to be covering microservices. No, we're not going to be doing that. We may have some serverless functions possibly, but probably not. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for all the questions. And feel free to drop in to office hours to ask questions there. And then, as always, if you do have other questions, there is the Call Kent podcast that you can come over to and ask questions here. You can literally record your call in the browser, ask me a question, and I will get back to you. And they don't have to just be coding related questions. You could ask questions about Epic Web, but you could also ask questions about like anything else. I don't promise I'll always answer if it's not an appropriate question, but I have yet to get one of those. So yeah, if you have any other questions about that, Call Kent podcast is probably a really good one for any questions about Epic Web. Anything else, office hours is always good. And then there's this link that Nick shared earlier, and I'll share it again, that will get you on the schedule, or so you can see the schedule and everything. So thanks everybody. We will see you all in the future. Bye.